Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here at Realtime Web Solutions Expo in New York. From Criteria Communications, I'm joined by Galeal Zino. Galeal, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Eric. Good to be here.
So, start off by telling me a little bit about Criteria. Who is it? I understand it is a startup within Tata. Tell me more.
Yeah, Tata incubated us as a startup earlier this year, and the founding mission of Criteria is actually tied in with real-time communications, real-time web, specifically the architecture that we need for that real-time web.
So, what are some of the challenges that you're helping address that we're seeing within the real-time communication space?
Yeah, great question, Eric. It's interesting. When you look at the web paradigm, web architecture paradigm, it's what I call throw the ball over the wall, right? In other words, the web application does what it does in its kernel and its user space. It passes the packets down to the network, towards a NIC card, towards the network. At that point, it just relies on the network to deliver the session, right? So if it's a classic web page to web user, phenomenal architecture, right? The web developer doesn't need to worry about layer 2, layer 3, TCP/IP, just does web dev. And obviously, we wouldn't have had the growth of the web if it wasn't for that diversification. With real-time communications, as in true real-time communications, right? So embedded voice and video applications in areas like augmented reality and IoT, in which it's absolutely critical that the session be delivered and be delivered with proper security. We actually think the web architecture is wrong, right? Those type of applications can't afford to just kind of throw the ball over the wall to the network and hope the network delivers. So with Criteria, what we've done is we've integrated, if you think of the OSI stack, we've integrated between the application layers, the network layers, and the security layers with a series of API SDKs and worldwide private network, such that those applications can indeed get what they need on the real-time web.
So who is your target audience?
Yeah, so I mentioned IoT and augmented reality, for example. AI is another one, artificial intelligence. If you think about it, for example, if we're talking at a distance over the web and there's some packet loss or latency or jitter and we miss a few words, no big deal, right? We figure it out. If it's a machine on the other end and you hand the machine impaired audio or impaired video and you expect the machine to do cognitive compute and do potentially something real-time, mission-critical, at that point in time, it's no longer acceptable to have that packet loss or latency. So what we're doing is we're partnering with folks in IoT, in augmented reality, in AI, who really need that type of tight network integration and security integration in order for their service to function.
So is this something that's recognized by the industry as being a need, or is it a little more forward-looking?
I think it's a little bit of both. When you talk to folks who have been down that road and they've started to realize the challenges of, for example, procuring T1s into rural locations for an IoT deployment, or trying to get an AI session from a call center to, let's say, a cognitive compute environment, and they're realizing both the challenges, the cost, and the time frames associated with doing things like pulling in private network, pulling in T1s, creating VPNs, and then, oh, by the way, once you get all that right, now you got to worry about firewalls and security, which just don't work in this kind of mobile, borderless world.
Does the company and what you're doing operate in conjunction with Tata or entirely separately?
Yeah, we are a Tata startup, so we work hand-in-hand with the Tata Infrastructure. Something like 24% of the world's internet routes go over the Tata network. So global network, global infrastructure from a voice, video, UC perspective. And a lot of our software-based assets, software-based routers, for example, sit on that private backbone, along with other places like an Azure or an AWS.
So that's certainly having that kind of an infrastructure behind you certainly offers a lot of insight and a lot of flexibility in what you're offering your customers.
Absolutely, yeah. If you think about what I described, if you take it up one level, for each application session, we're essentially creating an SDN, a software-defined network, that is controlled by that application and riding over those networks that I just described. So the application has seized control of the network. It's getting the quality it needs. It's getting the security it needs without actually owning or managing the network. And from the perspective of a platform provider or an application provider, that's pretty powerful.
What do you see sort of as next steps for you?
Yeah, so right now we're running proof of concepts. Our platform is in, let's call it a beta type situation. So we're scaling that platform and we're getting ready from an operations perspective to be able to support production customers.
Are you focusing anywhere specifically geographically?
It's certainly an international play. Most of our current proof of concepts are in the United States.
Excellent. Galeal, thank you for joining me. Thanks for being here at the show. We appreciate it.
Much appreciated. Thank you for having me.